And the Giants have won the toss and they'll receive. And Al Del Greco will be kicking off for the Packers. The Giants will send Phil McConkey and Solomon Miller back. McConkey on the left. There is McConkey, who played 4 games for the Packers this year. You don't have to wonder whether he's pleased he's back in New York. Underway at Giants Stadium, and it's going to be McConkey at the 6. Brings it up to the 26-yard line where Elbert Watts makes the tackle. And Phil Simms, the Giant quarterback, comes onto the field and will face this Green Bay defense. Alfonso Carricker, Charles Martin back in action after the 2-game suspension, and Robert Brown up front. Tim Harris, Randy Scott, Brian Noble, and Bobby Leopold are the linebackers. Mark Lee and Mossy Cade, the cornerbacks Tiger Green and Ken Stills, the safety. First and 10 at the 27-yard line. And it's Joe Morris with a hold. And Joe Morris close to a first down. Tiger Green on the tackle. And a good block by Maurice Carthen. The rest of the offense, along with Carthen and Morris in the backfield, Bobby Johnson and Stacy Robinson are the wide receivers. Mark Bavaro's the tight end. Benson, Ard, Oates, Godfrey, and Nelson up front. And it's a Giant first down without a huddle. At the 37, Morris again. And he picks up a couple, and again, Tiger Green is there to make the stop.
Interesting, the Giants going with a no-huddle offense. They're going to do it again. Phil Simms calling the play at the line of scrimmage. Well, this will give their opponent in the playoffs something to think about.
2nd and 7. First pass of the day. Simms finds Parker. Stopped at the 39-yard line. Short by 2.5 yards of a first down. It was Tim Harris with help from Tiger Green on the tackle. And again, a no-huddle play. The 45. Morris will be stopped, and the Giants will have to kick, and it was Green, but Charles Martin coming in also on the play, and Tiger Green was involved in all of the Giants' offensive plays on that opening series.
Not a bad way to start the game if you're Tiger Green, and that's really something unusual. The Giants haven't shown the no-huddle all season long, and you have to believe that's for somebody to see in the playoffs.
And one of the big threats that Bill Parcells worries about is Walter Stanley. You watch Thanksgiving Day, you know what he could do. Sean Landetta, Pro Bowl punter, will kick. And the penalty marker is down. And on a 4th and 3, if that's against the Packers, the Giants will have a first down. It is downed by Greg Lasker at the 1. And it looks as if
I would automatically assume that may go against the Giants. The center was bobbing his head. I wouldn't assume that's going to be against the Packers.
Fred Silva is our referee, and the Giant offensive line started to come on the field, and now they're going off.
I think the Giant snappers moved his head.
That was a 54-yard punt by Landetta.
False start on the center. 5 yards and a re-kick.
You're not allowed to draw the defense off sides. Let's take a look at the center position right now. Is there head movement? Is there body movement before the snap? Yes, there it is. That's an illegal play. Good call by the refs.
Bernell Dent of the Packers was drawn off, and so Landetta will now kick from inside his 25. And there goes Walter Stanley, whose 83-yard punt return for a touchdown won the Thanksgiving Day game over the Lions. Good kick by Landetta. Great kick. And the Giants will down it at the 1. That's Gary Reason. The question is, did the ball go over the plane and bounce in? And apparently it did. And Bill Parcells dreams of a Packer drive at the 1. Goes down the drain. They'll bring it out to the 20 following a 61-yard kick by Sean Landetta.
And what a break for the Green Bay Packers. Let's see if we can see the football. Does it go into the end zone? Well, the ball from that angle never seemed to touch in the end zone. Nonetheless, Packer ball at the 20.
And the quarterback is Randy Wright. In motion is Stanley. They got a throw. And Dan Ross, the tight end, is clobbered by Elvis Patterson. Here's another look at that punt, and did it get over the plane?
Well, it has to actually be downed in the end zone. The ball has to touch in the end zone. Boy, it did not touch the line there, at least from this angle. Boy, it's so close. I have to be honest with you.
If the player downing it is in the end zone, it's a touchback. In any event, 2nd and 10 at the 20. The pressure on. Dan Ross and Herb Wells drives him out of bounds, but the Packers will pick up a first down on the play. Gain of 11. Dan Ross, who has played in the Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals, has a Packer first down. And the Giant defense, George Martin, Jim Burt back starting after 3 games on the sideline, and Leonard Marshall. The linebackers, great ones, Carl Banks, Gary Reasons, Harry Carson, and of course Lawrence Taylor, Elvis Patterson and Perry Williams, Kenny Hill, and Herb Welch in the secondary. 1st and 10 at the 31. And Gary Ellis, they get Paul Otkaruth, carries out to the 35-yard line, and a gain of about 4. Stopped by George Martin. Ellis and Caruth, the running backs. Eddie Lee Ivory and Walter Stanley, the wide receivers. Dan Ross, the tight end. And the offensive line, Ken Rutgers, Tom Neville, Carl Swanky, Ron Hallstrom, and Alan Weingrad. An offensive line that Forrest Gregg likes very much. 2nd and 6 at the 35. Caruth is the lone back. Gets the call, stopped at the 39. It'll be 3rd and short. Lawrence Taylor and Pepper Johnson, who had an outstanding game last week against the Cardinals, on the tackle.
Well, the Packers right now trying to make the most of the break they got by getting the football started at the 20-yard line after a touchback. Again, I never saw the football go into the end zone, and it didn't appear that a player touched the football who was in the end zone. So point, it looks like a pretty good break for the Packers, and they're going to try to keep the drive alive.
I agree. 3rd and 2 at the 39. That's Ellis in motion. Randy Wright goes to Ellis, who drops the ball incomplete, and he would have had the first down with ease. Byron Hunt was closest to him. So it's 4th down, and now the Packers will have to kick. Ellis normally sure-handed, and that's Bill Renner, who was re-signed when Don Bracken, the regular kicker, slipped in practice. There's Phil McConkey, who goes back for the Giants. 4th down and 2. Giants come storming in, and Renner gets it off, and McConkey on the run at the 29. Downed at the 30-yard line. And a short flare-up. Simmons on the stop. 31-yard kick by Renner.
And brought it out to the 20-yard line. The ball never went in, but Gary Reasons, while he had control of the football, had his feet in the end zone.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Giants on their own 30-yard line. Just under 11 minutes remaining in the first quarter. That's Bobby Johnson. Sims up the middle. Bavaro open and gets about 9 yards. Ken Stills makes the tackle. Mark Bavaro.
Well, and Bavaro and Ken Stills exchanged Christmas greetings here early in the ball game.
What did Bill Parcells tell us coming into this game with the Packers?
Well, he said that Tiger Green and Kenny Stills are a couple of guys they're going to watch out for, that they really walk a fine line between making some hits. Bavaro wide open, gets the opportunity to turn upfield, and Stills takes him low with a good tackle. But Bavaro didn't like what was said afterwards.
2nd and 1. McConkey replaces Bobby Johnson. Joe Morris straight ahead. Penalty marker down, and Morris has a first down in the Packer territory at the 43. 18-yard gain. Bobby Leopold and Tiger Green on the tackle.
On the tackle, number 22, 5-yard face mask.
And that was Mark Lee. So when you talk about Green and Stills, it was Mark Lee on the personal foul face mask on that play.
Joe Morris capping off today a wonderful regular season as he works his way towards 1,500 yards. But what a huge hole in the middle. Boy, Mark Lee's hand went right by the face mask. Didn't hold on for very long. Whitman had it. Another close call.
1st and 10 at the Packer 37. Carson gets inside the 35. Ken Stills on the tackle. Carson with a tremendous blocking game against the Cardinals last week in a crushing block as a Packer is shaken up right now. It looks like Tiger Green on the field, and what a job Carson did last week against Leonard Smith.
Yeah, you wonder if Bill Parcells isn't letting him carry the ball today as a reward. He neutralized Leonard Smith, the Cardinals' strong safety last week, who Bill Parcells thinks is the best strong safety in the National Conference, as Tiger Green's still down on the field. Let's see if we can see what happened to Tiger Green at the end of the play. Joe Morris, this time being the lead blocker for Carthon, puts Green flat on the ground, and during the block it looks like there was a problem somewhere with Tiger's leg. Well, I don't want to speculate whether it's a knee or an ankle.
Tiger Green, former Atlanta Falcon, who had a big day in his own right against Tampa Bay last week, including an interception and a sack. And he's out of the game, and Forrest Gregg will send in David Greenwood, number 49. In his place, it'll be 2nd down and 6 at the 33-yard line.
A good, legitimate, clean block by Joe Morris, though.
Ed Berry, a rookie from Utah State, replaces Mark Lee at cornerback for Green Bay. Sims with a lot of time has Stacy Robinson and a 1st down at the 25-yard line. And it was Mossy Cade that time who brought the Giant receiver down.
Stacy Robinson, who has played well in the lineup instead of Lionel Manuel. Just a simple crossing pattern as he works beyond Bavaro. Bavaro underneath. Those are patterns that take time, and that time the Giant offensive line gave Phil Sims all he needed.
Stacy Robinson with a big touchdown reception against San Francisco, and the best speed amongst the Giant wideouts. 1st and 10, New York at the Green Bay 24. This week, how do you describe your play? And he said, I don't describe it, I just go out and do it. 3rd touchdown reception of the year for Mark Bavaro, and the Giants lead at 6-0. Rutledge will hold, and Raul Alegre, who has been perfect in conversions this year, 26 out of 26. And it's 7-0 Giants.
Crossing pattern.
That drive, Phil Sims was 3 for 3, and the play that set it up was Joe Morris's 18-yard run and then the face mask penalty. Sean Landeta kicking off as the sun comes out for the first time. And it's Ken Stills returning. And Stills with a terrific return on the kick. Lost the ball, and then the fumble. Stills recovered his own fumble at the 46-yard line.
Let's look at Mark Bavaro. See number 55 in the middle of your screen, Randy Scott. He's going to try to cover Bavaro, and when he realized that Bavaro was going to go deep, it's too late. He's beaten by a couple of yards, and Bavaro with a good, sure-handed catch. That's always the sign of someone who has a good, soft hand, the way the ball just comes in and doesn't bobble around at all.
1st and 10 for the Packers on their own 46-yard line, trailing 7-0 with 8 minutes, 22 seconds to go in the 1st quarter. Officials waiting before they put the ball in play, and now we're set. cover downfield by Perry Williams. Can't hold on.
I think Perry Williams' heart is beating a little faster on his way back to the huddle. As we see right here, he's beaten by a good 1.5 yards by Ivory, who has to work back to the middle of the field. And boy, that ball was catchable. That was a perfectly thrown pass by Randy Wright. It would have been an excellent catch, but the ball was there.
According to Forrest Gregg, he says Randy Wright is easily his most improved veteran. He likes this third-year quarterback.
He likens him to Bart Starr with his leadership. This kind of player.
Ball on Caruth, the lone back on 2nd and 10. Wright gets hit as he throws and was going for Ivory. And Lawrence Taylor let Randy Wright know that he's in for it today.
Lawrence just works in from the outside, kind of a delay, working against the left tackle, Ken Rutgers. But it's when Wright is forced out of the pocket to come up towards the line of scrimmage that Lawrence comes in for the late play. Good thing he did, because Ivory was wide open on the play.
We talked about Taylor needing 2 sacks to beat Mark Gastineau's all-time record. But keep in mind that Dexter Manley is only 3 sacks behind Taylor, and he's playing tomorrow against Philadelphia.
The worst pass-protecting team in the league.
By far. 3rd and 10 at the 46-yard line. Wright hits Ivory at midfield. And that's where his forward progress is. Perry Williams made the hit, but they're 5 yards short of a first down, and the Packers will have to kick it away again.
Well, it's not always glory if your name is Lawrence Taylor. Sometimes you slip and fall just like mere mortals, and sometimes you get knocked down like mere mortals. Take a good look at that. You don't see it very often.
Bill Renner will kick to Phil McConkey for the Giants at 7 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock in the first quarter. And it's blocked. And it's picked off. Tom Flynn, touchdown.
Equivalent of an unassisted triple play. Block it, catch it, and run it in yourself. Got to be nice.
13-0. And Allegre will try to make it 14. And Bart Oates is knocked over.
Sure, the Packers are contending that he's doing exactly what he did the first time he got flagged, that he's moving. Fred Silva, tell us what's going on.
Offside, encroachment, number 79. He assessed on the kickoff.
Donnie Humphrey of the Packers, and so they'll assess the 5 yards on the kickoff. It is 13-0, and already the Packers are ornery out there.
Well, this is a very physical team. You know, they just haven't been in the news lately for doing a lot of good, strong hitting. They play like their coach, Forrest Gregg. And you know what? All we have to worry is if the game gets out of hand score-wise, we don't want it to deteriorate on the field. That's a poor way to end the season for Green Bay. I hope it doesn't happen.
The conversion is good, and it's 14-0. And there's Tom Flynn, who started the first 6 games, failed to make a tackle in 1 game and was cut.
He's going to come in from the right of our screen. Now you see the mistake by Renner. He kicks it right into the overload. And Flynn blocks it, gets the perfect fly, picks it up on the run, and it's easy. But Renner has to kick away from that overload. He can't turn and punt it into the rusher.
He should know by now, Dan, that's the 3rd time Renner's punt has been blocked this year in the 12 that he's tried.
Of course, this guy, he doesn't care at all, does he? The Giants out front early. No surprise here, is it, Dick?
And, of course, the Chicago Bears are hoping that the Giants would somehow, some way get upset, giving them the chance to win tomorrow against Dallas, which you'll see on CBS. And, of course, the Bears trying to get their act together to defend their title with Doug Flutie at quarterback against the Cowboys, who faced their first losing season in 22 years. Meanwhile, right here, it's 14-0 in favor of the Giants.
Green Bay has to settle down right now and not try for the big play. I know you've heard it a million times, not try to do it all at once. The fact of the matter is they're not capable of doing it all at once. They've got to be careful, stay within their limitations.
It's going over to Paul Atkarut, 2 yards in the end zone. He'll down it there for a touchback. And the Packers will take over on the 20-yard line. Well, coming up following this game, NCAA college basketball. Number 5 ranked Illinois against number 4 ranked North Carolina.
And Illinois at 7-0, North Carolina 5-1. That game will be in North Carolina. Dean Smith, his own arena. That's not bad, you know. You got to have it named after you.
Doug Altenberger, he has that 3-point range for the Fighting Illini, and Kenny Smith, the senior, leading the Tar Heels.
Think this will be Stockton Stadium Sunday?
Don't think so.
Don't bet on it.
1st and 10 at the 20. And that's Gary Ellis. And Ellis brings it out to the 24-yard line. Packers coming in averaging less than 100 yards a rush, facing the top defense against the run in the conference. Banks and Reasons on the tackle, and Forrest Gregg has made a lot of wholesale changes this year.
Well, he said in the past that he's very disappointed that he was the coach of an 8-8 ball club, and he didn't want that to continue. And while 8-8 must look pretty good from where they're at right now, he's got to be... I don't know that he really wanted to only win 4 ball games. Sometimes it backfires. It has this year.
2nd and 6, and Ellis again slices off tackle. Harry Carson was there at the 25-yard line. George Martin also in on the play. Harry Carson said this week that the Giants over the years, and he should know, being 32 years old, have learned from the negatives in recent years to get to where they are now.
And a lot of it is because of his leadership, going to his 8th Pro Bowl. Harry Carson, the most dominating middle linebacker. Mike Singletary might not think so, but over the last 7, 8, 9 years, I don't know that anyone has played the game as well in the middle as Harry Carson.
3rd and 4 at the 26. 3 wide receivers. Penalty marker is down. And the pass is caught at the 32-yard line by Walter Stanley, but there's a flag. Against the Packers, illegal procedure.
Illegal formation. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, retreat is 3rd down.
We've been talking about Carson, and these are the rest of the Giants who made the Pro Bowl team.
Of course, LT going 6 for 6. The one that's really interesting, a couple I find interesting, Brad Benson, NFC Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. Jim Burt going his first time. Sean Landetta, you remember the punt last year in Chicago. I thought that might have been his last punt for the New York Giants. That might be comeback of the year.
3rd and 9 at the 21 after the penalty. Right. Goes cross field. Incomplete to Paul Atkarut in a crowd. Defending was Elvis Patterson and Kenny Hill, and so it'll be 4th down. And Renner, who had his last punt blocked in a play that resulted in a Giant touchdown, will be kicking again.
And he better take a good long look as to which side the overload is going to come from and kick it away from that.
McConkey is deep for the Giants, who look for good field position, perhaps.
The overload is to his right. He better kick away to the left.
And a good kick by Renner. McConkey at the 29. And a good play by Mark Lewis for the Packers. 4 and 1 touchdown pass. 1st and 10 at the 33 for the Giants. Trips at the 45 and is down at his own 46-yard line, and the first turnover of the ball game.
And Phil Simms is injured. He's limping off the field. He took a shot at the end of that play. Let's look at it from behind. Simms is going to get some pressure coming in from the left-hand side. I think it's Tim Harris who comes in and hits him, but a big league throw to Joe Morris, who should have handled that easily. He kept it alive just long enough for Mark Lee to play catch with him and take off with it. But Sims was hobbling as he went off.
And for Mark Lee, 9 interceptions and a career high.
And one more, and he would tie the Green Bay Packer record.
First and 10 Packers on their 46 and a break for Green Bay. Pass caught by Dan Ross. Kenny Hill puts him down, and a gain of about 7. So Sims, who goes into the game with a swollen left hand.
Let's look at the end of that play. Driven to the ground by Tim Harris. Didn't look like anything unusual there, but he got up and he took one step and stopped, as we see, still walking kind of gingerly on the sidelines.
He hasn't necessarily convinced all the fans, and his numbers have not been all that impressive, but he's gotten the big wins and the clutch plays when he's needed it. Packers, meanwhile, 2nd and 3 on their 40-something. Ellis. Good second effort. Flag is down. Ellis close to the first down yardage. Gary Reasons and then Harry Carson in on the play. But there's a penalty. And it goes against the Packers. That would have nullified a first down. Did nullify one.
Offense, number 81. Holding. Repeat. 2nd down.
That's Ellis, who carried the ball, and Dan Ross, the veteran tight end, who was holding on the play. So instead of a first down, it'll be 2nd and 13 for the Packers on their own 43.
Now the heat will be on. Lawrence Taylor, 2nd half away from time. They have to wonder if he'll be back in coverage on this play. Somehow I think he might be in the backfield.
And now Randy Wright moved Ross, strong side left, the tight end. Wright has time, flips it to Ellis, who drops the ball. Incomplete pass to normally sure-handed Gary Ellis out of the backfield. And it'll be 3rd and long.
The Green Bay Packers want to put a tight end in front of Lawrence Taylor. Here's Taylor standing right here. We're going to bring a tight end over and put him in his face. Taylor's going to move back to the weak side. The games people play. Here comes Ross. Taylor says, bye-bye. I don't want anything to do with you. I'll rush from the weak side.
3rd down and 13, and you always have to keep an eye on number 56. Meanwhile, Kenneth Davis has come in and replaced Gary Ellis on 3rd down. Inside handoff to Paul Montaroot. Gets nothing and a fumble. And the Giants recover. And it was Jim Burton who recovered the fumble for the Giants.
Now Green Bay doing their very best to take a bad situation and make it worse. This time turn the ball back over to the Giants. Let's see if we can see Kurt's fumble inside. Well, the ball definitely comes out before he's down on the ground, and it comes right down between the legs of Jim Burt, who just picks it up and cradles it. So, turnaround is fair play. Morris fumbles. Actually didn't fumble, but bobbled the ball so the Lee could make an interception, and now Caruth turns it around and gives it back to the Giants.
And these are the kind of errors you saw we had today. The most spectacular one was the blocked punt touchdown by Tom Flynn. And the Giants have the ball in Packer territory at the 45. Morris. And Morris can't get away from Tim Harris, who has been the outstanding defensive player for the Packers this year. Rookie out of Memphis State, leads the team in sacks. And a loss of 1 on the play.
Tim Harris, a player that Forrest Gregg thinks is his best athlete up front. He's 6'5", 235, and by far and away their most skilled pass rusher. You think it might come from the defensive line, but Timmy Harris from his outside linebacker position, sometimes he even gets down like a down lineman.
2nd and 11 at the Packer 46. Sims up the middle, and it's caught by McConkey inside the 25. Mark Lee tried to get a hand on it. It almost did. McConkey with a catch, 23 yards.
Working from the slot position, it's just man coverage. Working against Mark Lee, takes the outside, and then, boy, that's just a perfect throw. And boy, what a nice catch that time by Phil McConkey. Sims again, though, sat in the pocket, didn't have anyone in his face, didn't get it afterwards. That's the way a quarterback gets confidence.
Ken Stills on the tackle. 1st and 10 at the Green Bay 23. Morris tripped up, and he might have gone all the way if he had not been by David Greenwood. And there's Phil McConkey, who on his locker still has his name and number that he had in Green Bay. A reminder of his days in Green Bay. He says, I knew what it was like, and I'm glad to be back with the Giants.
And he really parted, you know, really holding no ill feelings at all towards the Packers or Forrest Gregg. He was quick to tell us that. Forrest brought me in, sat me down, explained the situation, and I really think a great deal of the man.
2nd and 2 at the 15. And Carson may have a Giant 1st down at the 12. Alfonso Carricker on the stop, and it is a New York 1st down with a minute and a half remaining in the 1st quarter.
And the Packers have to wonder if that's not a minute and a half left in the 3rd quarter. This game is dragging on as they are making some plays offensively, but then making a dumb penalty or a turnover. And their defensive football team has played this entire 1st quarter, which is not a good sign for Green Bay at all.
1st and 10 at the 11. Morris inside the 5, and almost another 1st down. He fumbled after he was down.
Yeah, Joe Morris hit the ground before the ball came out, but again, behind the lead block of Maurice Carthen, he makes his break back to the outside, but look how the Packer defensive line has moved back off the football. But Joe Morris's right elbow hits the ground, he's down. Clearly no fumble on the play.
Already 49 yards for Morris, who has broken his own club record rushing, coming in at 1,400 yards this year and 7 100-yard games.
Keep in mind, this guy didn't even have a training camp.
Reported right before the opening Monday night game with Dallas. And a penalty marker down as Morris goes in. Touchdown Giants pending the flag.
Well, the Giants will tell us. Looks like it's against Green Bay.
24-56 defense, offside, decline.
And the 14th touchdown of the year for Joe Morris. And a 20-0 1st quarter lead, and the Giants obviously not taking any chances here in their final game of the year to nail down the home field advantage. And now Raul Allegre. The Giants,
by Lawrence Taylor.
The Giants leading 21-0 and could be playing 2 games here at Giant Stadium en route to that city in California where CBS will be, by the way, in January. The Packers come out 2nd down and 7 on their 35-yard line. Caruth, the running back. Who comes up to make the play. We give Taylor enough credit. Let's have Gary Reasons, who's had an outstanding year, come in.
How do you measure the worth of this linebacking core to the New York Giants? Normally on a football team, you'll see a free safety, somebody like a Ronnie Lott, who might be the leading tackler, or one of the defensive linemen works in there, somewhere in the top 4 or 5 players. On the Giants, Banks, Reasons, Carson, and Taylor are the top 4 tacklers.
3rd down and 8 at the 34. Pressure for Wright, flag down, and the ball caught by Eddie Lee Ivory. It would be enough for a Packer 1st down. Herb Welsh on the stop, but there was another penalty, and most of them have gone against Green Bay so far. Not this time, and that will be declined. And
56 defense, offside.
Overzealous was Lawrence Taylor, and it'll be a Green Bay first down at the 47-yard line, a gain of 14 to Ivory.
LT on the line of scrimmage. He must have been lined up offsides as he didn't take a step before the snap of the football. But, you know, I don't want anyone here to lose sight of the fact that I think Randy Wright is throwing the football exceedingly well. The Packers have made mistakes that have brought back some of his plays, but I'm very impressed with him here early.
First and 10 at the 48. Another flag down. And Kenneth Davis is also down. Just shy of midfield by Kenny Hill.
And 2 more flags came in after the play. I think every official got rid of his flag while he could.
The Packers were holding on the play. Opening minutes of the second quarter. Forrest Gregg's Pack trail 21-0.
65 offense, holding. 81 offense, holding. 10 yards, first down.
It was Hallstrom, the right guard, and Ross, the tight end, that time.
Well, it's a good thing it was on 2 different people, because when you get called for holding and only 1 flag comes in, you can always walk up to that official and tell him he's blind. But when you draw 4 or 5 of them, that's big-time holding. That time, though, luckily for Hallstrom, Ross was in on it as well.
Is there ever any small-time holding?
Yeah, the ones you don't get caught for.
First and 20 at the 38 following the penalty. Up the middle to Kenneth Davis to the 41-yard line. You talked about the linebackers and how they are impressive in the Giant defensive core. You'll see it here, and keep in mind that not only do the Giants have 4 good ones, they have 8 outstanding linebackers.
Yeah, they have a backup core, guys like Andy Hedden and Pepper Johnson and Byron Hunt that could start for other teams in the league. But that 49% for the linebacking core, that's unusually high. And you know what that means? When you don't see a defensive back in your leading tacklers, that means nobody's getting into your secondary. You know, when you see a guy in the secondary as your leading tackler, that means there's a sieve up front.
And the Packers will call a timeout. And the Giants have brought in 2 rookies, Eric Howard and Eric Dorsey, up front, as Parcells likes to use a lot of people on defense in 1 year. Are well toward that goal as they lead at 21-0. Second and 15 for the Packers on their own 42. Right. And Eddie Lee Ivory, incomplete. Looked like he had it and then lost it. Incomplete. Kenny Hill and Elvis Patterson defending on the play, and Ivory, a former running back, now playing exclusively at wideout.
Eddie Lee Ivory just makes his break to the inside. He has to wait for the football, but again, it's right there. And how many times are Packer receivers and running backs going to drop the football today? Let's watch Lawrence Taylor at the conclusion of the play. He's going to drop Randy Wright, and he's going to get a little jawbone from the Packer bench. Some of those guys rode him a little bit on his way back into the field. He turned and said something, I think along the lines of, "I really didn't mean to do it." Of course he did. All defensive guys mean to do it.
Third and 15 at the 42. Mike Moffitt, number 82, in motion. Low snap for Wright. He's in trouble, and he's down. Eric Howard. And you listen to Parcells talk about Eric Howard, you think he may be the best of all of his young defensive players.
Eric Howard that time started from the nose tackle position. He's been playing a lot lately because of Jim Burt being hurt. Let's watch his upfield move. He's going to fight around the center and splits the gap between Swanky and Neville. And then good hustle comes down, and the word Parcells used to describe Eric Howard was relentless. He was on that play.
Bill Renner is in to kick for the Packers, and McConkey goes back for the Giants. Wobbly kick. McConkey at the 26. Flag down, 2 flags down. And that's been the story of the game, and it matches one of the Green Bay colors, gold. David Greenwood on the stop, and a 36-yard punt.
And I think it's going to be called against Greg Lasker, number 46. He really came in from behind. That one was obvious to everyone in the stadium. Lasker of the Giants came in, Dick, and really put a shot, clearly clipping or illegal blocking from behind, but there may have been more than just one.
89. Check. 46. Holding. 51. Downfield, we're going to replay.
You had it right. It was Lasker, and it was Robbie Jones of the Giants. Of the Packers, I should say. Renner will kick again to McConkey, who returned that one 10 yards. 12:27 remaining in the second quarter. Line drive kick, McConkey at the 22. And he's stopped at the 31-yard line by Elbert Watts. A 40-yard kick.
Always been rooting for the Giants. I think loyalty is something that appeals to people. People like being loyal to something. We're all looking for something to be loyal to. And I just happen to be loyal to the Giants. Loyal is a nice thing to be, no matter what you're loyal to.
You know, but Andy, I was a guy who played in this town on a Super Bowl team, and it was amazing. Even though we won a championship with good players like Namath, the Giants got more respect in us. What is it about the Giants?
I think that's always been proper. I think they're a nicer group of people. Always.
We have to wrap it up after him saying that. Now back to you, Dick.
Thank you, John. Very nice. Maurice Carthen after a 9-yard pickup. 2nd and 1 for the Giants on the 41. And this time, Joe Morris steamrolls ahead for a Giant first down at the 47. Ken Stills and David Greenwood both make the play on Morris.
You know, Giant tickets have to be tough to come by when Andy Rooney has to sit in the upper deck of the end zone. Andy, baby, I think you could do a little better than that. He's up in nosebleed heaven up there. He's so far away from the field. He's got to watch this game through binoculars.
1st and 10 at the 47. Kind of agree with you there. 11:08 remaining. Carthen fights his way close to midfield. And a gain of a couple. Randy Scott and Brian Noble on the tackle. Well, maybe next year he'll get better seats. The Giants lost George Adams. Keep in mind that they had expected Adams in his second year to be their all-purpose back-to-team with Morris. They lost him all year. Carthen has done a tremendous job blocking for Morris. That has come through admirably. 2nd down and 7 at midfield. Sims wide open is Stacy Robinson. He'll have the first down at the Packer 39, and David Greenwood brings him down.
Boy, and you talk about a cushion. Stacy Robinson this time working against Ted Edbury, rather, the left corner, who's dropped clear out of the picture. You don't mind giving a guy a little room to let him work underneath you, but I think 15 yards in Barry's case may have been a little excessive. Stacy Robinson may say, let's run that play again. Why not if you're going to have that much room to operate?
Good numbers for Sims so far. More important, the 21-0 lead. Under 10 minutes to go, Joe Morris with a good cut inside to the 31-yard line. Alfonso Carricker makes the stop. He has 68 yards, Morris, and not far from first down yardage.
Joe Morris, one of the things he does so well is change of direction. Watch what he does to Bobby Leopold, the linebacker, when Morris comes in. He's going to cause him to spin all the way around. Joe Morris will fake to the outside, back to the inside. He spins Leopold all the way around, and he just stands there helplessly. One of the things Morris does so well, change of direction.
2nd and a long one. Lee Roussan is in the game, but Carthen carries and fights his way for the first down. See where they spot the ball at about the 29. It'll be close as the officials check the sideline marker. It looks to be a first down, and it is for the Giants with 8 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Mark Bavaro with a touchdown reception from Sims, a beauty, 24 yards. Joe Morris with a 3-yard run, and Tom Flynn's blocked punt returned 35 yards have accounted for the 3 scores. 1st and 10 at the Packer 28. Carthen, the setback. Sims gets hit from behind as he unloads by Brian Noble, who was blitzing from inside linebacking position.
And I don't know if Phil Simms realizes how close he came to taking one right in the back. He ended up without even taking a shot, just having the ball hit and his throwing arm. And here's what Phil Simms saw downfield. He was going to go to his tight end, Mark Bavaro, and it is very difficult to be any more wide open than that. Extremely fortunate are the Packers that that ball was hit at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10 at the 28, and it's cold enough so that Simms has to blow on his hand all the time. Roussan and Carton are the running backs now. Morris gets a rest. Simms on the blitz, being chased and dumps it away, and it was a tremendous blitz by Burnell Dent, the rookie from Tulane, who came in unscathed on that play.
Yeah, Burnell Dent is going to come from the inside, and this is him standing up right here. We're going to see an all-out rush by the Packers, but Burnell Dent comes up the middle untouched, and Simms a good job of this time getting away from Dent. You have to have the quarterback under control. Simms very effectively got rid of the football.
It'll be 3rd down and 10 at the 28. Dent goes out of the game, and in the game for the Giants is Tony Galbraith. Efficient receiver out of the backfield on 3rd downs, making his first appearance.
Timeout number 2.
And the Packers will call their 2nd timeout of the first half, and we'll take a break right now with 8:17 remaining in the first half.
The winning edge, almost equal of what the Giants are doing.
3rd down and 10 at the 28.
And they may be here 2 weeks from today.
McConkey is out of bounds, and John Simmons was defending. The Rams and the Redskins will meet in the wild card game, and if the Redskins win, Washington would go to Chicago, and the 49ers would come and play the Giants here at Giant Stadium. And the only way Bill Parcells won't face the 49ers again will be if the Rams surprise Washington.
And the 49ers and the Giants have already played one time this year, and that was on a Monday night. San Francisco had a 17-0 lead and blew it and lost the ball game.
Raul Alegre with a 46-yard field goal attempt to try to stretch the Giant lead to 24. And the kick is perfect. Raul Alegre has kicked 10 field goals in his last 12 tries, and this matches his longest field goal as a Giant. It's 24.
And when you go into the Giant locker room and try to talk to Raul Alegre about it, I mean, it's like, I don't want to jinx myself. I don't even want to talk about it. I'll see you after the season.
Gary Ellerson at the 1, returning for Green Bay. And Ellerson takes it down to the 24-yard line. 24-0. Let's tell you about tomorrow on CBS. It all begins at 12:30 with the NFL Today. The first game of real interest of the Redskins and the Eagles. Even though the Redskins know they'll be hosting the wild card, they lost last week to Denver, so this is a big game for them.
And they lost the week before that, so they do not want to go into the playoffs having lost 3 in a row. And then we'll follow it up with the Bears and the Cowboys in Texas.
Doug Flutie will start at quarterback for the Bears, who want to get their offense straightened out for postseason. 1st and 10 Green Bay here at the 24. Taylor was coming in, and the pass complete to Ed West, the tight end. And West makes the catch at the 29, a gain of 5. Elvis Patterson making the tackle, and Taylor was coming in strong.
And that's one of the things we were looking for, because this is Lawrence Taylor lined up at strong safety. Linebacker, 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 and another linebacker is out here. He's coming in from the strong safety position. Unblocked. Luckily, Randy Wright saw the blitz and got rid of the football. That's one of the things the Giants told us they wanted to do.
You said he'd be coming from strange places today. 2nd and 5 at the 29. Kenneth Davis, nowhere to go. And a fine tackle by Elvis Patterson. And they have to bring some players apart momentarily. And Patterson with a good play. He was out 3 games with a groin injury and came back after Mark Collins, the rookie, took over. But Elvis Patterson, who led the Giants with 6 interceptions last year, with a strong play there.
Disciplined football. He stayed at home when the flow went the other direction. His responsibility, after he makes sure it's not a pass, is to make sure that if the play comes back, it doesn't get outside of it. Good disciplined corner play by Elvis Patterson.
3rd down and 2 at the 32. Completes the pass to Nolan Franz, and a penalty marker is thrown from way deep in the backfield, defensive backfield. It would be a Green Bay 1st down. Perry Williams on the tackle. Franz, a rookie free agent from Tulane, activated when James Lofton was suspended for this game.
Defense, pass interference, inside where the ball was run. They'll take the run, the play, 1st down.
It'll be a 1st down for the Packers on pass interference.
Let's look at Lawrence Taylor. He's going to slip again on this play. You see how his foot goes out from underneath him. He ends up underneath Randy Wright. Lawrence Taylor's got to seriously consider changing shoes at halftime. The shoes he has on aren't working. He's slipped 3 or 4 times.
1st and 10 at the 39. And the whistle blows. A penalty marker was thrown, nullifying that play entirely.
And that usually means one of the offensive linemen moved.
65, offense.
That was it, Dan. Ron Hallstrom.
5 yards, still 1st down.
5-yard penalty, former #1 draft choice.
A lot of times that happens when an offensive lineman has to get out in front of a play or get back into pass protection, especially when you're on the road. Crowd noise is a problem as the wave is going around here at Giants Stadium. They've got reason to celebrate. Why not?
1st and 15 on the 34. 5:50 on the clock. Giants in front, 24-0. Davis. And Kenneth Davis goes outside. One man to beat. And is brought down by Kenny Hill at the 16-yard line. Kenneth Davis, a 50-yard run. The 1st draft pick, selected on the 2nd round out of TCU, and a big play for the Green Bay Packers.
Pepper Johnson makes a rookie mistake. This is Pepper Johnson lined up down. He gets upfield, but he has to hold contained. Let's see if he does it, because he's not going to do it. Watch how he gets inside, slips, and Kenneth Davis is going down the sideline. Johnson has to make that play when you're unblocked.
That's the longest run by a Packer this year, and it gives them 1st and 10 on the Giants 16. Paul Otteroot tests the left side and gets a couple. Perry Williams and Gary Reasons on the stop. The longest run of the year by the Packers. A 50-yard run, and now the Giant defense with its 1st challenge of the afternoon.
And the Giants defense is slipping and sliding all over this football field.
2nd down and 7 at the 13. Right as Ivory, and Eddie Lee Ivory will go in for a Packer touchdown. And Randy Wright, sparked by the 50-yard run by Kenneth Davis, concludes the drive with a pass to Eddie Lee Ivory, and the Packers are on the scoreboard, trailing 24-6.
Like I said earlier, Randy Wright doesn't appear to be a quarterback that easily loses his composure. He's remained solid in the pocket. He's been pinpoint with his passing, and now he's finally getting some help from his receivers and backs. They're holding on to the football.
Al Del Greco with Joe Shield, the 3rd quarterback, holding. And the kick is good, and it's 24-7. And for Ivory, that's his 1st touchdown reception of 1986.
It's just man coverage. He and Perry Williams, Eddie Lee Ivory, going to work underneath. And Williams gives him the big coverage. Heads for the goal line, and the Packers, not all the way back, but they're working on it.
For Randy Wright, who has had 4 passes dropped today, And a gutty quarterback, only the second Packer quarterback in history to pass for more than 3,000 yards. Lynn Dickey did it 3 times. And it's 24-7. And Del Greco will be kicking off for the Packers. McConkey and Solomon Miller are back. And it's McConkey on the 10. Down shy of the 30-yard line. Well, Christmas Day is a big football-basketball doubleheader on CBS. First, Tom Heinsohn and I will call the action from Madison Square Garden. Michael Jordan, there may be no better individual show, Dan, in the NBA, brings the Chicago Bulls against the New York Knicks.
And then we'll follow that up with a little football. How about the John Hancock Sun Bowl? Don James will take his Washington Huskies against Ray Perkins and the Tide of Bama. That starts at 2:30 live Eastern time. And, of course, Ray Perkins has been on the floor of this stadium before.
And Don James, the guy you're associated with.
He recruited me to go to the University of Michigan. And now the dean of Pac-10 coaching.
Well, that must mean he's the oldest in the point of circus.
No, he runs their school.
Joe Marcus goes to the 32-yard line, a gain of 3. As you see the time, less than 4 minutes to go in the half. Burnell Dent and Tim Harris on the stop. 24-7 the score, and that momentarily quieted the crowd. But the Giants firmly in front in this game. And, of course, a victory nails down the home field advantage in the playoffs, which is what this game means to the Giants. Wasn't there. Stacy Robinson, the intended receiver, covered by Ed Berry. Now, Sims is a guy that did not get named to the Pro Bowl this year.
And a lot of his Giant teammates are upset about the fact that he didn't get named. They thought because of how well the Giants have done that Sims should have been there. The 2 NFC quarterbacks are Jay Schrader of the Washington Redskins and Tommy Kramer of the Minnesota Vikings, with Kramer being the starter. The thing that hurts Phil Sims coming into today's ball game was an 18 touchdown passes against 20 interceptions. That's a poor ratio.
3rd and 6 at the 23. Sims under pressure, dumps it off to Galbraith. Tony Galbraith brings it up. Flags fly again. Down at the 39-yard line by Elbert Watts and David Greenwood. That was Sims' first completion, Dan, excuse me, after 4 incompleted passes.
And I was going to say, what a job he did staying alive. That should have been a sack.
On the tackle by the defense, grabbing inside the helmet, 5 yards. That'll make it a first down.
I think Elbert Watts is the fellow called. Let's get a look at it. No, he's actually got him underneath the helmet from the side. But nonetheless, you cannot grab onto the headgear on any part of it, not just the face mask. You can't hook your fingers underneath it or inside of the face mask. Good catch that time by the official.
And the litany of mistakes today by the Green Bay Packers goes on. 1st and 10 for the Giants on their own 43-yard line. And now Forrest Gregg wants to talk to the official, to the referee. And I think that Gregg, obviously unhappy with the flag that he obviously feels the Packers don't all deserve.
Well, remember when we talked early about concentration? Again, we go back to the James Lofton situation and having a poor day yesterday, and he thought some of his players were having trouble holding it together. And I think Forrest Gregg voiced that concern to us last evening, Dick, and I think we're seeing it on the football field here this afternoon.
Not in Randy Wright's case, though. 1st and 10 on the 43, and the pass is intercepted by Ken Stills. And Ken Stills brings it deep into Giant territory and may go all the way, and he does for a Packer touchdown. And the Packers get back in this game. A 58-yard return from an interception by Ken Stills, and it's 24-13.
And this is a pass that just floated on Phil Sims. He's trying to find Mark Bavaro, but he overthrows him badly. And And Ken Stills, who was playing deep zone, just stood and waited for the football. But what an effective job he did. And look at the block by Robert Brown on Phil Simms that allowed Stills to get the touchdown. But a poor pass that time from Phil Simms. Overthrew Bavaro by a good couple of yards.
First interception of the year for Stills. And Al Del Greco converts for the Packers, and all of a sudden, after a 24-0 lead and 2:52 remaining, the interception by Simms, and the Packers now trail 24-14.
5 or 6 minutes ago, I think the Giant bench reflects Giant Stadium. A lot of mumbling going on out there, Dick. The wave has stopped.
Yeah, the wave calmed down in a hurry. Packers have scored 14 points in 1 minute and 19 seconds, and the look on Phil Simms' face show you probably the look on all the fans' face as well. (24-14), and Del Greco will be kicking off. McConkey on the right, Miller on the left for New York. The kick bounces into the hands of McConkey at the 14. They're down at the 33-yard line is Phil McConkey, and the tackle by Gary Ellerson. 2:44 remain in the first half. The Giants have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. And coming up, Don Shula and Dan Rooney to discuss instant replay, and you won't find 2 classier gentlemen in the game of professional football than those 2. First and 10 at the 33. Morris slips. You think Morris ought to change his shoes too? What's going on out there?
Well, let me tell you something. This field is slick. And every time that I played on a field that was slick, I wore a new pair of shoes because the cleats are sharper around the edges. And I really have to wonder if a lot of the Giant players are wearing new shoes because they're really slipping and sliding much more than the Packers. So you have to wonder if the Giants, who practice on turf an awful lot, maybe some of these guys shouldn't change shoes at halftime.
Second down and 10 for the Giants on their 33-yard line. Simms getting pressure, and his sack. The whistle had blown, and it was Tim Harris with his 7th sack of the year. He leads Green Bay.
And Tim Harris, that time nothing more than perseverance, got him to the quarterback. You're going to see him here, see Tim Harris 97 against Maurice Carthen, but he's blocked. Carthen stays with him, even though he gets driven back into the pocket. But Phil Simms unable to get away, and that's where it stops, right there. In the grasp and under control, and the Packers take a timeout. They want to get the football back.
It's their last timeout. It'll be 3rd and 23, and Tim Harris, a tremendous pass rusher and 6'5", tough to throw over when you want to do that. And for Phil Simms, who was just sacked, 3rd down and 23, back at the 20. Simms dumps it off to Galbraith. Down to the 26-yard line by Bobby Leopold and David Greenwood. It'll be 4th down and the 2-minute warning. Means that a lot of you, your lives, and that was dramatic, but certainly your livelihoods could be at stake in the final game of the year. And lately, the Packers in the last few minutes have shown light. Sean Landetta will kick from inside the 15 on 4th and 17, and there's a big threat in Walter Stanley. Keep in mind the Packers are out of timeout, and Stanley at the 25. Great coverage by the Giants, and Blake Lasker makes the play back at the 22-yard line. A 49-yard kick and good coverage. Again tomorrow, Dexter Manley looks for the sack record, and Joe Gibbs wants to get his team ready.
And of course, the Eagles have only given up 99 sacks already this year. They passed the NFL record 20-some sacks ago. So they're going where no man has ever gone before.
And the Bears and the Cowboys, and Doug Flutie at quarterback for Chicago in Game 2. It all starts with the NFL today. 1st and 10 at the 22. No timeouts remaining, and 1:43 on the clock for the Packers.
Moffitt.
And Wright really didn't have much choice on that play.
No, he really didn't. He did a smart thing. Don't throw it to the middle of the field where even a tip or something might keep it alive. Throw it into the bench and start again with no timeouts. The short little 5- and 6-yard pass is just exactly what the Giants are going to let them throw. They've got to work the sidelines with the deeper routes to try to make the catch and quickly get out of bounds.
Giants led 24-0. The Packers scored 2 touchdowns in 1 minute and 19 seconds, including a Ken Stills 58-yard interception and touchdown, his first NFL career score. 2nd and 10 at the 22. Lasker follows Stanley. And the pass out of the backfield, Eddie Lee Ivory. And Ivory out of bounds. Welch riding him in a little stiff arm, and the Packers will stop the clock and get a first down after a gain of 21.
And Ivory, even though he made the good catch and a good run on the sidelines, he's very close to drawing a face mask call. You know, if you're an offensive player, you can't go to the face either. And watch what he does to Welch with the hand on the face mask. I'm sorry, but that's a penalty all the way. There's no way that an offensive player can do that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and I'm afraid it doesn't work both ways.
1st and 10 at the 43. No argument.
I like that when you don't argue with them. That makes me feel good.
At your side, not a chance. Wright going deep for Moffitt, who's there to make the play. And out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Mike Moffitt stopped by Kenny Hill, and a gain of 34 yards to the rookie free agent from Fresno State.
And the man he beats is Greg Lasker. Lasker behind on the play, and Mike Moffitt, who doesn't really have great speed, poorly played that time by Lasker. And I think there are a lot of disbelieving people here in the Meadowlands.
Only his 4th catch of the year, and this game is turned around. With 1:25 on the clock, Packers already in field goal range have a 1st and 10 on the Giant 23. Was trying to go to Nolan Franz and was directing traffic. Wisely stops the clock, and Dan, we've talked about him, but I got to admire Wright's poise.
I do too, and he's getting some solid protection. They're neutralizing Lawrence Taylor. This time it'll be Ken Rutgers, number 75. He's just going to ride Taylor deep. No, that's not holding. He had his hands to the inside, and Lawrence Taylor's being taken away from the pass rush. Open downfield. Wow, can you believe that? Poor choice that time by Wright to go across the middle.
4 wide receivers, 2nd and 10 at the 23. Pass to Stanley, who's hit hard by Gary Reason. And the clock runs with 1:10. It is an injured player is Stanley. That's the first catch of the game for Walter Stanley. And the clock stops at 1:05 in the first half.
Well, Walter Stanley is awful small to be sending inside. He's just going to get whammed from the inside right here by Gary Reason, who outweighs him by 50 pounds. Walter only 5'9", 175 pounds. And he is down for the count, and I'm not very surprised by that at all.
And already, you know, the Packers with James Lofton suspended after his arrest on a sex offense charge, not playing in this game. Philip Epps on injured reserve. The Packers are awfully thin and wide receiver, and now we understand they're going to run 10 seconds off of the clock.
Well, the Packers, remember, had used all 3 of their timeouts. And there is an injury timeout, but they'll take one of your remaining timeouts. When you don't have any, they run 10 seconds off of the clock.
Third down and 4 for the Packers on the Giants 17.
Tied, and their 4th timeout. We run 10 seconds off the clock. They'll go from 1:05 to 55 seconds.
Now, 3 weeks ago, the Giants rallied from a 17-0 deficit to beat the 49ers, so they know you can never have a safe lead at this point. Not saying that the Packers and Giants are even teams on papers, like the 49ers were a more formidable team, but you never know. Up the middle, incomplete. It was the intended receiver. And now on 4th down, Del Greco will come in to try to narrow the gap to 7 points.
If you're Lawrence Taylor, this hasn't been a fun first half. Watch what happens. He's going to get cut by Kenneth Davis, then right in the face is Alan Weingrad, and you've got to admire the way the Packers are manhandling Lawrence Taylor here in the first half. He's looking for a record, but the Packers are looking for him.
On 4th down, Al Del Greco, who has connected on 6 of his last 7 field goals attempts, will try one from 34 yards. Joe Shield will hold with 46 seconds remaining in the half. And this kick is good, and the Packers, after trailing 24-0, have come up with 17 consecutive points with 42 seconds to go, and the Giants are in a ball game. This game, the Giants were leading 24-0. The wave was rampant throughout Giant Stadium in this capacity crowd, and then the Packers have come back to furrow the brow of Bill Parcells to the tune of 17 straight points. Eddie Lee Ivory on a 13-yard reception for a score. Ken Stills returned an interception 58 yards, and Al Del Greco with a 34-yard field goal, and the Giants talking things over.
That's Eric Dorsey on the left talking to Jim Burt. Dorsey playing a lot of nose tackle lately because Jim Burt, who's going to the Pro Bowl, has a herniated disc in his back and has really been bothered with it here towards the end of the year.
And look at the change in complexion of this game in the total yardage story. And by quarters, Del Greco will kick off. Solomon Miller on the right, McConkey on the left for the Giants. And the Giants have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Heading over towards McConkey at the 9. And he stopped at the 25-yard line, and it was Elbert Watts who has been guilty of a penalty earlier, and that's where the Giants will take over with 37 seconds and 3 timeouts.
And Watts that time had a hold of McConkey's helmet and spun him around. Phil's going to the sidelines holding his head and neck. He'll be a little sore at halftime as the Giant trainers are going to take a look at him, but Watts that time definitely had a hold of McConkey's helmet.
1st and 10 at the 25. Tony Galbraith is in the lineup. Pass is caught by Galbraith, one-handed, and he is hit at the 26 and a gain of only 1, and it was Bobby Leopold and Tim Harris, the 2 outside linebackers, who came up strong.
I need somebody to explain to me why the Giants aren't taking a timeout.
This far back in their own territory especially.
That is poor clock management.
Completes the pass to Bobby Johnson. That'll stop the clock at the 40 with 12 seconds remaining. John Simmons on the stop. A gain of 13, but the time doesn't look very good for the Giants from their standpoint.
No, that's a mistake by Phil Simms not to have called a timeout after the completion to Galbraith. What are you going to do with 3 timeouts in 12 seconds? Any way you look at it, you're going to go into the locker room with a timeout left. I don't know why he burned off at least 10 or 15 seconds by calling a play at the line of scrimmage.
1st and 10 at the Giant 40. Loses the ball and falls on it. It was Tim Harris who made the hit, and he has been a pesky performer. Talk about Taylor. What about Harris against the Giants today?
And that'll be counted as a sack. He forced a fumble in the backfield, so officially that goes down as a sack. And the clock will start, and I think the Giants are going to be content to get out of here.
Loss of 9 yards, and Bill Parcells will have some choice words, I feel, for the Giants.
Sims came